Welcome, Rabbi Sai, to a Chazara Shiur on Mishnah Yud and Sugya Mem. Wow, this is a Geschmack Sugya. This is a Geschmack Sugya. When we learned it in class, each part, boys were just, Geschmack, each part was so Geschmack, such a chap, such a chiddush. But it's a little bit of a tough Sugya, so fasten your seatbelts, and here we go. Mishnah Yud. Case goes as follows. If a mafkid gives an item to the shomer to watch, let's say a barrel of wine, so now he's watching it. A little bit later on, time goes by, and he does shlichus yad. The shomer uses it for something, or he moves it into his own possession in order to keep it. And a little bit later, he actually uses it up. Let's say he drinks the bottle of wine, the barrel of wine, and now something happens to it, and they come to din Torah. Now the thing is that either the price of the barrel went down in price, so maybe the shomer should pay a cheaper price, or it went up in price, maybe he should pay a higher price. What's the din? Says Beis Shammai, Yilka b'chaser v'yata. You always get hit, you always get punished with a higher price. If it went down in value, pay the higher original price. If it went up in value, pay the current price, which is higher. Beis Hillel says, you pay how much it was worth when he spent it, when he took it out, when he drank it up. And Rabbi Akiva holds that you pay like how much it was worth at the time of din Torah. If it went down in value by the din Torah, you pay a lower price. Up, higher price. That is the Mishnah. So let's open up our Gemara and let's learn this Mishnah inside Daf Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. Let's put it up on the screen also, but I want you also to open up your own Gemara, read it together with us. It's very, very important to read it also. Get your whole body involved. We're holding the second Mishnah on the Amud, Hasheleach Yad. Zog the Mishnah, Hasheleach Yad b'pikadon, one who sends his hand, meaning a shomer who does shlichus yad in a pikadon. And the Mishnah doesn't say this clearly, but Rashi explains. And now the item went up or down in value. Beis Shammai say, Yilka, he should get struck, he should get punished. B'chayser u'v'yaser, when it goes down in value and when it goes up in value. And Beis Hillel say, Kishas eitzah, he pays whatever price it was when he spent it, when he used it. Rabbi Akiva says, Kishas atviyah, he should pay how much it was worth when the Balabais demanded him to court, to din Torah. Rashi on the Mishnah, Rashi Dibra Maschel, Yilka b'chayser u'v'yaser. You should get punished with when it goes up in value, when it goes down in value, and it goes up in value. Rashi explains what we're missing some information in the Mishnah over here. Im chasru dameha, if its money went if there was a loss to its value, shehuzlo bashuk, that it became cheaper in the marketplace, yishalim dameha, then the shomer should pay its money, k'moisha haisa shava, the way how it was worth, b'shah sheshalach bayad, at the time that he did shlichus yad. Shehi shasak zela, that's the time that he stole it, because as soon as you do shlichus yad, you're stealing it, so you pay like that time. V'chein, and so too, kol hagazlanim, we're going to learn about this a little bit later, v'chol hagazlanim, and all thieves, if someone steals something and it goes down in value, mishalmin, they pay kishasak zela, how much it was worth when they stole it, the original price. Ukagoin, and for example, over here we're talking about, this Mishnah is talking about shehoitzia, that he spent it, he took it out of existence. She'ena ba'ayin, that now it's not in front of our eyes, it's not actually here. Avol, but im yeshna ba'ayin, but if the pikadon is actually here in front of us, kemoisha gazla, just as he stole it, just as it was when he stole it, Omer lo, he could say to him, Harei shel chalafanecha. The shomer could say, here, look, here's your barrel. The fact that it went down in value, that's not my problem. Here's your barrel. Your loss. If I wouldn't have stole it, you would anyway lose. So here's your barrel back. If you have the actual barrel, just give back the actual barrel. Now you used it up. Oh, now you need to pay the original price. Kidamrinan, like we say in other places, Gabe Matbeya, regarding a coin, the nifsal that became invalid, the imprint, the imprint of the coin became rubbed out, and now it's not valid coin. Truma v'nitmes, truma that became impure. The Perek HaGoizel Kama in the first Perek HaGoizel, which is in Baba Kama. There's two Perek HaGoizels. The first one, all this is discussed. That the gazlan, someone who steals, pays how much it was worth at the original time that he stole it. Uvi Yaser, Zakt Rashi, and when it goes up in value, Im Shasa b'yadeh, if this item stayed in the shomer's hand, Misha Shala b'yad, from when he did shlichus yad, V'nis Yakre, and it became more valuable, V'achakach, and afterwards, Haitziyah, he spent it, Loike, he gets punished, he gets struck, B'yeser dameha, that now he has to pay the more of the money. He needs to pay the increase of the money. L'shalem k'shas eitzah, to pay like how much it was worth when he actually spent it. Uveis Hillel loimim, okay, now Beis Hillel say, chulu, the Gemara Mefaresh, where are we? The Gemara Mefaresh Ma'amar, and the Gemara explains what exactly Beis Hillel is saying. What does it mean, Haitzah? What does it mean spending it? What does it mean taking it out? Kishas Hatriya, like the time of demanding. Kishas Sheyitbu L'din, like the time that he that the mafkid demands the shomer to din Torah. Uve Gemara Mefaresh Taiman, and the Gemara will explain its reason. Zogt the Gemara. All right, here we're getting into it. We're getting into this. We're getting into this sugya. Here we go. Sugya mem, all about shlichus yad. Now, Chelek Aleph, we're first going to say a din from Rava. Well, actually, the Gemara says Rabba, but later on the Gemara and Tosfos and later on in the Gemara also it says Rava, and this is all supposed to be Rava. So we're going to say Rava, besides for when we learn inside the Gemara. When we learn inside the Gemara, we're going to say Rava, because that's what it says inside the Gemara. But I want you to know that it's all Rava, not Rabba. So Rava said, a gazlan, someone who steals, okay, he steals a barrel, and as time goes on, by the time that he spent it, the time that he drank it up, or used it, or whatever, the time he took it out of existence, it went up in value. At the beginning it was worth 1 zuz, now it's worth 4 zuz. Now what happened to it at the end? What did he do with it? If either he broke it with his hands, he smashed it, or he drank it. Okay, so now, if he broke it or drank it by himself, by himself, if he did something to it, then he pays 4 zuz. But if it breaks by itself, then he pays 1 zuz. Why? What's the reason? Says Rava. Because if the barrel would be here, then even though it went up in value, the gazlan could just say, here, look, Balabais, take your barrel back. But since he doesn't have the barrel, the rule is, Kol hagazlanim, all thieves, mishalman, pay, kishas hagzela, like how much it was worth when they stole it. But now, when he broke it and when he drank it, it's like he stole it at that moment, because right now he can't, as soon as he uses it up, he can't give it back anymore. So Sha'as Hagzela, the time of stealing it, to the extent that he can't give it back anymore, is at this point right here while it's worth 4 zuz. Okay? So since he took it out of existence, that's considered Sha'as Hagzela. That's considered when he stole it and now he can't give it back. So he pays like Sha'as Hagzela, which is 4 zuz. If it broke by itself, then when did he steal it? He stole it over here. Over here he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything at this point. All he did was over here when he took it into his own possession. It broke by itself. So he didn't do anything. So when's Shas Hagzela? Over here. Therefore you pay 1 zuz. You pay 1 zuz like Shas Hagzela. Good. That's Chelek Aleph of our Gemara. Let's learn it bifnim. Let's open back up our Gemara. Zog the Gemara. Zog the Gemara. Amar Rabba. So again, really it's Rabba, but the Gemara says Rabba. We're going to read it inside as Rabba. Amar Rabba. Rabba said, hi man, this person, the Gozal Chavisa the Chamra, that stole a barrel of wine, the Chamra of wine, Mechavre, from his friend, Meikara, from the beginning when he stole it, Shavya Zuzo was worth 1 zuz, Hashta, now, Shavya Arba, it's worth 4 zuz, and now what happened to it? Tavram, he broke it, Oishasya, or he drank it, Mishalem Arba, he pays 4 zuz. Itbar memele, if it broke by itself, Mishalem zuz, and then he only pays 1 zuz. Frag the Gemara, my time, what's the reason? And for the Gemara, and for Rabba, Kevon, since the Isa, the if it's here, if it is over here, Isa, it is over here. Hadra Lamare, he could give back the barrel to the owner, Be'ena, in front of your eyes, and he could give back the actual barrel to the owner. So as long as you're able to give it back, give it back. But Hahi Shaita, that moment, the Kashasile, that he drank it, or the Katavarla, or they broke it, it's like that at that moment he's stealing from the owner. Utnanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Kol hagazlanim, all thieves, mishalmin kashas hagzela, pay like the time of theft, the time that they stole it. So therefore, at that moment when you take it out of existence and you can no longer give it back to the owner, that's considered the time that you stole it, and you pay like that exact time, which that exact time it's worth 4 zuz. Idbar memela, if it broke by itself, mishalam zuzah, then you pay 1 zuz. For the Gemara, my time, what's the reason for that? Why do you only pay 1 zuz? And for the Gemara, hashta, now when it broke, loy avid lo, he didn't do anything to it, v'loy midian, not anything. Amai ka machayvas lo. So on what and on why? Why are you making him chayav? For what? On what are you making him chayav? Ahi shaita d'gzela. On that time that he stole it, all the way in the beginning. And hahi shaita, and at that moment, zuzah hu d'shavyo. A zuz is how much it's worth. That's why you should only pay 1 zuz. Rashi. Meikara from the beginning. Zokt Rashi. Meikara from the beginning, Kisha Gozla when he stole it, Ulabasoif, and at the end, Kshayatzla min ha'olam, when it went out of existence, when it went out of the world, Tavra, what if he broke it, he smashed biyadayim with his hands deliberately, Oishasya, or he drank it, Achar Shehukra, after it went up in value, after it's worth now 4 zuz, the Isa, because if it's here, if it is kan over here, b'shas hatviyah, at the time that the owner is claiming it, hava mahadrina be'ena, you could give it back actually in front of our eyes. The chi amrina, that when do we say mishalam k'shas hagzela, that thief needs to pay how much it was worth when he stole it? Heichad leisa b'ayin, where it's not in front of us actually. Avol yeshna b'ayin, but if it is in front of us actually, bein shehukra, both of them became more expensive. Bein shehuzla, both of them became cheaper. Chayzeres k'may shehi. It goes back the way how it is. Give back the actual thing. It went down in value, went up in value, doesn't matter. Hilkach, therefore, hoy il since the im tava ba'oida kayemes. If the owner demanded it back while the barrel still existed. La'achar shehukra, after it went up in value, hoysa chayzeres ba'ayin, it would have gone back actually in front of our eyes. Ishtakach, so it comes out, at that moment, the kashasile, that he's drinking it, who the gozila, that's when he stole it. He stole it when he actually drank it, because now he can't give it back anymore. Okay, now we're ready for so that was just like an introduction. That was easy compared to what we're going to go to. And here we go, but it's very, very geschmack, trust me. And now, before we continue, let's give an outline to what we're going to do. Okay, the objective is, what we're trying to get to, is what does Beis Hillel really argue with Beis Shammai over? What are they really arguing about? And what's the reasons why each one holds what they hold? That's really what we're going to get to. Okay, but the next steps are going to be as follows. We're going to understand. We're going to explain what does Beis Hillel mean. What does Beis Hillel hold? We're going to explain it in the first way. Then we're going to slug up the first way. So we're going to bring a second way. We're going to explain Beis Hillel according to a second way. And then we're going to say, 1 second, this second way doesn't fit with Rava. Meaning this second way would come out to be that Rava holds like Beis Shammai. Rava can't hold like Beis Shammai. Halacha is always like Beis Hillel. Okay? So according to the second way, according to this way, it turns out that Rava goes like Beis Shammai. That's going to be a problem. So Rava is going to explain Beis Hillel like the first way, and he's going to answer this question, this shloga. That's what we're going to do. Here we go. Okay, so step number 1, we're going to explain Beis Hillel according to the first way. Okay, in the Mishnah, right? The Shomer did Shlichus Yad, and it went up in value, went down in value. What does Beis Hillel hold? Beis Hillel holds that he pays like the time that he took it out. Kishas Eitzah, they took it out. What does it mean, Eitzah? What does it mean, Eitzah? And for the Gemara, it means, Mina Oilam, they took it out of the world. He drank it up, or he took it out of existence. Okay, that's the first way. So the next step is the Gemara is going to say, no, that can't be. This cannot be what Beis Hillel means. Why? Because if we say that Beis Hillel holds Eitzah Mina Oilam, taking it out of existence, that you pay like the time that you take it out of existence. And if so, what are they arguing about? If you're going to say that they argue that the machlekes is when it went down in value, and Beis Shammai holds that you pay the higher price, because Beis Shammai always hold that you pay the higher price, and Beis Hillel hold that you pay the lower price, that can't be. Because there's no one that ever holds that you pay a lower price. Everyone, including Beis Hillel, holds Kol HaGazlanim Mishamak Shas HaGzela. That everyone holds, including Beis Hillel, that thieves pay the original price. If it goes down in value, the thief pays the original price like the time that they stole it. So you can't say that Beis Hillel is going to hold that when it goes down in price, he has to pay the lower price. You're not going to be able to say that. So the machlekes can't be when it goes down in value. Okay, so what are you going to say? You're going to say that the machlekes is when it goes up in value. And what are you going to say is the machlekes? That Beis Shammai holds the higher price because they hold it, you always pay the higher price. And what Beis Hillel is going to hold? Also, pay the higher price. Then they're not arguing. So because Beis Hillel holds that you pay like the time that you used it up. They're not arguing, they're saying the same thing. So the machlekes can't be when it goes up in value. It comes out, you can't say that Beis Hillel argues about any of those ideas. So you can't say that Beis Hillel means Haitzah min ha'olam, taken out of the world. Step number 3. So what are we going to say? Okay, so we must say that Beis Hillel really holds Haitzah means mi beis habalim, taking it out of the owner's house. And kule alma, everyone is agreeing when it goes down in value that you pay the higher price. Why? Beis Shammai is going to hold that you will pay the higher price because they always hold that you pay the higher price. And Beis Hillel is going to hold that you pay the higher price because that's when you took it out of the owner's house. When do they argue? When it goes up in value. Beis Shammai holds you pay the higher price because they always hold that you pay the higher price. And Beis Hillel holds you pay the lower price because you pay like how much it was worth when you took it out of the owner's house. Step number 4. According to that, if Beis Shammai is the only one that holds that you pay the higher price of when you used it up, then 1 second. That sounds fairly similar, or the same practically, to what Rava said in the beginning. Rava says that when you steal and it goes up in value and then you use it up, you pay like the time that you use it up. That's the same thing that Beis Shammai holds. You pay like the later time when you use it up. Right? Beis Hillel argues. Beis Hillel says you pay earlier. He doesn't hold like Beis Hillel. He goes like Beis Shammai. How could that be? How could Rava hold like Beis Shammai? Halacha is like Beis Hillel. We already said that in Maseches Brachos. Already in earlier generations of Amiraim, it was already established that the halacha is always like Beis Hillel. Even in times of Tanoim, halacha is like Beis Hillel. How could Rava hold like Beis Shammai? Oh, and for the Gemara, and this really starts getting very geschmack. Rava says, okay, I'll explain to you that really Beis Hillel holds Haitzah means Haitzah min ha'olam. You pay like the time that you took it out of the world. And Kuli Alma, everyone agrees. And everyone agrees that when it goes up in value, you pay the higher price. Beis Shammai holds you pay the higher price because they always hold that you pay the higher price. Beis Hillel holds they hold the higher price because that's the time that you took it out of existence. When do they argue? They argue when it goes down in value. Beis Shammai holds you hold the higher price because they always hold that you pay the higher price. And Beis Hillel holds that you pay the lower price. You had a kasha that nobody holds that? No. Beis Hillel has a special reason why he holds the lower price. What's the reason? And that reason will take care of that kasha. What are they really arguing about? They're really arguing about if shlichus yad requires using it up. Okay? Beis Shammai holds shlichus yad does not require using it up. And therefore, as soon as he moved it into his possession, even though he didn't use it up, right away he's going to be chayiv. That's the time that he's chayiv, so he pays the higher price. Beis Hillel, however, holds shlichus yad tzichach yisarn. Shlichus yad requires using it up. So when he took it over here, did he do shlichus yad? He didn't do shlichus yad. When did he do shlichus yad? When he used it up. That's why he holds you pay the lower price, because that's when he did shlichus yad. You asked me before about kol hagazlanim mishalmin k'shas hagzela, that you pay like the time that you stole it. This is the time that you stole it. You did shlichus yad at this time, when it's at a lower price. Beautiful, geschmack. And we're going to have a few more of this kind of geschmacka answers. Figuring out what Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel really argue about. What really they're thinking. Okay, let's take a break from the Havana and let's learn Bifnim, the Gemara. We're holding Tanan, 5 lines from the bottom of the page. Tanan, Zog the Gemara, Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah. So we're holding step number 1. We're going to figure out what Beis Hillel holds. And we're going to explain it like way number 1. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah. Beis Hillel and Beis Hillel say that the shomer needs to pay how much it was worth when he took it out. My what does it mean that he needs to pay when he took, like the time that he needs to take it out? What does it mean kishas? Ilema, first way. Ilema, if you're going to say, and ilema is a keyword of a havamina. Ilema, if you're going to say kishas mina oilam, that it means that he needs to pay how much it was worth when he took it out of existence of the world, when he spent it. Uvemai. And what are they arguing about? Now comes the slug up to the first way. Uvemai, and what are they arguing about? If they're arguing when it goes down in value, mi ika lamanda amar, is there a manda amar who holds that you would pay the lower price? V'hatnan, we doch learned in a Mishnah, kol hagazlanim mishalmen kashas hagzela. All thieves pay like the time that it was stolen, the earlier price. Even Beis Hillel agrees to that. Nobody holds that you will pay the lower, later price. Everyone holds you'll pay the higher original price. Okay, so it can't be that they're gonna argue when it goes down in value. Okay, what about if they argue when it goes up in value? If you're gonna say that they're arguing when it goes up in value, Hainu Beis Shammai. That's the same. Then it comes out that they hold the same thing as Beis Shammai, because Beis Shammai says that you pay the higher price, and Beis Hillel holds that you pay the later, which is higher price. Ela pshita, so second way, ela pshita, rather, it's obvious, you must say, kishas, that what does Beis Hillel really hold? What does it mean, shas eitzah? Kishas eitzah mi beis habolin. Like the time that you took it out from the owner's house, from the owner's possession, the time that the shomer took it. Okay, now, frag the Gemara on that. If so, then it comes out that then Rava holds like Beis Shammai. Lema, should we say Rava the Amar ke Beis Shammai? That Rava holds like Beis Shammai? That can be. And for the Gemara, Amar lecha Rava, Rava could tell you, Biyaser, when it goes up in value, the really Beis Hillel holds like the first way. Beis Hillel holds Hitzah means Hitzah min ha'olam. When you spend, that you're responsible to pay how much it was worth when you spent it from the world. And B'yaser, when it goes up in value, Kuli Amaloi Pligi, the entire world doesn't argue that you pay the later price. Ki Pligi, when do they argue? B'chaser, when it goes down in value. Beis Shammai Savri, Beis Shammai hold Shlichus Yad, Einot Tzricha Chisar, Shlichus Yad does not require any usage, any lackage. V'chi Chaser, and now in our case, when did it lose? When did it go down in value? After he took it, after he stole it, so in his own possession. V'chi Chaser, when did it lose in value? B'rishus Adidei, in his own possession, Chaser lost. So you need to pay the original price, when you took it. Uveis Hillel Savri, and Beis Hillel hold Shlichus Yad Tzricha Chisar. Shlichus Yad requires a lackage. In order to do Shlichus Yad, you need to make it missing. V'chi, that means that when he used it up, that's when he did Shlichus Yad. V'chi Chaser, and when did it become? When did it lose? When did it become less? B'rishus Ademare Chaser. In the rishus of the owner is where it went down in value. He still didn't steal it until he used it up. He didn't steal it because Shlichus Yad Tzricha Chisarin. Rashi, back on Mem Gimel Amud Aleph, and this was such an exciting piece when we learned it in class because we are turning the page and now we're able to see the end of the perek. It's a simcha. Okay, we're holding Uvemai, close to the bottom of the page, 5 lines on the bottom of the page. Rashi de Ramaskel Uvemai. Uvemai, and what are they arguing on? Aheya Pligi, on what is Aheya Pligi Beis Hillel? On what is Beis Hillel arguing? If they're arguing when it goes down in value, kisha huzla, when it becomes cheaper, the kamri beis shammai, that what would be the argument? The kamri beis shammai, the beis shammai would say, yilke should get punished, lishalim to pay, kidamim shahoisa, like the money that it was, b'shas hagzela, when the time they stole it, the original price, before it went down in value. The kamri beis hillel, and beis hillel would say, kishas eitzah, like the time that he spent it, the lower price, the current price. Umi kol man da'amar, and is there such a man da'amar that says such a thing? Heicha deleisa be'ayin, is there anyone that holds that when the barrel is not in front of us, you would pay the current price, you would pay the lower price? The chol hagazlanim, lav kishas gzeila mishalmin, that any ganav does not pay like the original price. Is there anyone that holds that a ganav doesn't pay like the original price? Everyone holds the ganav pays like the original price, not like now, unless you have the barrel here. You don't have the barrel here, you need to pay like the original price, not the current lower price. Next page. Ela pshita, rather it's obvious, kishas eitzah mi beis habalim, that Beis Hillel holds that what does it mean haitzah? What does it mean kishas eitzah? Haitzah means when he took it out of the owner's possession. Kishas hagzela, and he needs to pay like the time that it was stolen. Uvi yeser pligi, and they're arguing when it goes up in value. The kamri beis shammai, the beis shammai hold, im hukra, if it went up in value, yilke, he should get punished, l'shalim, to pay kishas eitzah min ha'olam. The beis shammai holds that you should pay the higher amount, like when it was taken out of the world, because you always pay the higher amount. Beis Hillel amri, and Beis Hillel hold, kishas eitzah, beis habalim, you pay the lower price before it went up in value, like how much it was worth when you took it from the possession of the owner. Ki pligi, and when do they argue? B'choiser, when it goes down in value. This is the next piece. No, this is our piece, yeah. Ki pligi, this is already in the answer of Rava. Rava answers and says, no, I'll answer you that really way number one of Beis Hillel is right. And I'll explain it to you. Ki pligi, when do they argue b'chayser, when it goes down in value? The kamri Beis Hillel, and Beis Hillel hold, kishas eitzah min ha'olam, they need to pay how much it was worth when he spent it out of the world. With the kashalach, and this day I have a kasha, kol hagazlanim mishalmin kishas hagzela, that all thieves need to pay like how much it was worth when they stole it. If it was actual stealing, like someone like a pashta robber, or they took it from someone else. The gazla meikara, that from the beginning he stole it, he was never supposed to have it. Hachanami, so indeed you're supposed to pay like the original time. Aval hacha, but over here it's a little bit different of a case, because the behetera asli yadei, over here the shomer, he behetera asli yadei, because with a heter, with permissibly, this item got to his hand. He has the item permissibly. He's supposed to have it. He's supposed to watch it. Umishum shlichus yad kamachayev aslei, and you're making him chayev because of shlichus yad. Beha pligi. Now is where they're arguing. So this whole kasha of kol hagazlan mishamak shasach zela, that would only apply to a gazlan. Over here we're talking about a shomer who's doing shlichus yad. So at the beginning he wasn't doing gzela, only when he used it up, according to Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai Savri, shlichus yad ain't tzricha chisaron. Beis Shammai hold that shlichus yad does not require any usage, any lackage. Umi shesholach bayad, and from when the shomer uses it. Afal pi, even though shaloi chasra, according to Beis Shammai, even though they didn't make it lose. Afal pi shaloi chasra, even though he didn't make it lose. Havi gzela, that is considered theft. It's like he's stealing at that moment when he takes it. V'kama b'rishusay, and it stands in his possession. It goes into his possession. Ukshehuzla b'rishusay, and when it goes down in value in his possession. Ukshehuzla, and when it went down in value, b'rishusay huzla, it went down in value in the shomer's rishus. The im ha'isaba'ayin, and if it would have been actually in front of us, oimer loi, the shomer could tell the balabais, harei shalcha lefanecha, here's your barrel in front of you, what do you want from me? But now that he spent it, mishalam kashash shlichus yad, you pay like the time how much it was worth when you did shlichus yad. When did you do shlichus yad? When you put it into your possession. Now when you used it up, when you took it, that's shlichus yad. So you pay like that time. when you did shlichus yad. Okay. Now, so we just established that Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are really arguing about shlichus yad eino tzricha chisaron or shlichus yad tzricha chisaron. Okay? So now, Beis Shammai hold shlichus yad does not require any lackage. You steal it right now, right at this point. Frag the Gemara, step number 6, Chela Gimel. Step number 6, if you say that Beis Shammai holds shlichus yad eino tzricha chisaron, turns out Rava holds like Beis Shammai. How do I know that? Now let's go back memory lane. Let's go back a few sugyas to Sugya Lamed Hey, one of the tough ones. We learned to Rava explain the reason of Levi on the topic of shlichus yad tzricha chisaron. Now, the main thing that you need to know over here is shlichus yad eino tzricha chisaron. If you don't know all the details of how we get to that, that's fine. I'm just going to do a chazara from a few sugyas ago, and I'm going to get back to the bottom line, which is most important. So if you lose me over here, it's okay. Sugya Lamed Hey Chelek Hey says as follows. Levi holds shlichus yad eino tzricha chisaron. How do I know that? Rava explains this. Rava says this, that it says shlichus yad by a shoyl. And from there I learn out shlichus yad is regular shlichus yad when you use something up. But I would be able to learn out from a shoyl to a shem echinam and shem esacher through a kal v'chemer. Madach a shoyl who's allowed to use it, if he does shlichus yad, he's going to be chayev. A shem echinam and shem esacher who are not allowed to use it, of course they're going to be chayev. Rather, why do I need these extra psukim? To teach me that, one of them is to teach me that shlichus yad eino tzricha chisaron. Even if you don't use it up, even if you just use it, you're still going to be chayev. Okay? And then the other one, Rava explains to teach us a daye laba min hadin that we're really not going to get into. That's really not applicable to us. Okay? I would think that just like a shoyl, if he's with the owners, he would be pater. So to Hashem chinam and Hashem sachar, with the owners, he would be pater, and that's why we have the extra pasuk. But it really doesn't matter. What do I see from all this? Bottom line, zone back in. Bottom line, what do I see? Rava holds, and he gives a reason why shlichus yad eino tzricha chisaron. If so, you just said the Beis Shammai holds shlichus yad eino tzricha chisaron. Rava holds like Beis Shammai. That can't be. Similar kasha to before, right? That we said before. Rava holds like Beis Shammai. So we're saying that again. You're explaining Rava. You're explaining the whole Mishnah to be about shlichus yad tzricha chisaron or not, and you hold that Beis Shammai says shlichus yad eino tzricha chisaron. Oh, Rava, you hold like Beis Shammai. How could that be? And for the Gemara, okay, fine. I'll tell you. I'll re-explain the Mishnah. Step number 7, Rava can explain the Mishnah, Beis Hillel according to the first way, and give a different answer to the shloga. Okay, how is that going to work? Okay, so Zog the Gemara for the Gemara, Ella, rather, this is what we're talking about. The Mishnah is talking about where he moved the barrel in order to climb on it. He misused it, misappropriating it, meaning he used it in order to get his doves from the tree, to climb on the barrel. And really, what is Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai arguing? If someone borrows something without telling the owners, shoyl shloim midas, is he a gazlan, or is he a shoyl, or is he a borrower? Okay? Now, and they're arguing when it goes down in value. This stays like last time. They're arguing about if it goes down in value. Beis Shammai hold that shoyl shloim midas, someone who borrows it without knowledge of the owners, he's a gazlan. So he needs to pay the higher price at that moment, that time. That's when he's a gazlan. Okay? Beis Hillel holds shoyl shloim midas, someone who borrows without knowledge of the owners, he's a shoyl at this point. When did he steal it? When does he become a gazlan? When he uses it up at the lower price. So this day you had a kasha about paying lower price. That's not a kasha anymore. This kasha is not a kasha anymore, because when did you steal it? When did you become a gazlan? At this point when you used it up. Because till now you're still a shoyl. And what they're arguing over the Shammai and Beis Hillel is whether a shoyl shloim midas is a gazlan, then he stole it right away, or a shoyl shloim midas is a shoyl and he stole it over here. Beautiful. So really what they're arguing is shoyl shloim midas or not. Shoyl shloim midas is a gazlan or a shoyl. And that's really why Beis Hillel is able to hold that he pays the lower price. Again, very geschmack. Let's go back inside the Gemara. We are holding the first Elahada Amarava. So Ella, rather, Frag the Gemara, Elahada Amarava, but this that Rava said, Shlichos Yad Einot Tzricha Chisar, and Shlichos Yad does not require a lackage. We said this already in a few sugyas ago. What? Lema, should we say? If Rava holds that, right? So if you're going to tell me that Beis Shammai holds that, Lema Rava da Amar ke Beis Shammai, should we say that Rava holds like Beis Shammai? That can't be. And for the Gemara, Ela Achav Mayaskinon, rather this is what we're talking about. Kegoin, for example, Shetiltla, they moved the barrel, Hashem moved the barrel, Lahavir Elal Gazales, to bring on it his doves. Uvishoyel Shalemidas Kamifligi. And what they're arguing, Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, what they're really arguing about is about someone who borrows without the knowledge of the owner. Beis Shammai Savri, Beis Shammai hold, Shoyel Shalemidas, a Shoyel without knowledge of the owners, Gazlan Hava. He is a Gazlan. He's a thief at that moment. They takes it. V'chi chaser, and if he stole it already when he started using it to get his doves, at that moment he's a Gazlan. So v'chi chaser, and when did it go down in value? B'rishos hadidei, already in his own possession, already in the shaver's possession is when it went down in value. B'rishos hadidei chaser, it goes down in value in his possession, so he needs to pay like the original amount. Uveis Hillel Savri, and Beis Hillel hold, Shoyel Shalemidas, someone who borrows without knowledge of the owner, Shoyel Hava. He is a shoyel. So he's still borrowing it until he uses it up. V'chi chaser, and when did it go down in value? Before he stole it. B'shasa demare chaser, in the possession of the owner is when it went down in value. So now you pay the later price of the lower price because that's the moment that he stole it. Till now it's still in the owner's possession. Rashi. Two small Rashis. Elahada Amar Rava, rather this that Rava said, Le'el b'shmaitin, earlier in the sugya, Daf Mem Aleph Amud Beis. Shlichus Yad Einot Tzricha Chisar. And where does Rava say this, that Shlichus Yad requires a lackage? The Ka'amar, because he says over there, he gives that whole explanation for Levi, for Levi's opinion. Shaloi, Taimar Shlichus Yad, the Pasuk doesn't need to tell me Shlichus Yad, by a shoyel, I'm able to learn it out of a Kal V'chomer, I have extra psukim, etc., etc. Chulu, big emphasis on the Chulu, big Kal V'chomer over there, if you remember. If you know, you know. Okay, next, Chelik of the Gemara, and it continues to get Geshmak. Okay, so basically, what did we just say? We just said that Beis Shammai holds Shoyel Shalem Midas is Lagazlin. Okay, and that's why he's chayav already he's chayav on the higher price, right? Because already when he starts using it, he's already stealing it when it's still more expensive. Frag the Gemara, step number 8. If you say Beis Shammai holds Shoyel Shalem Midas Gazlin Hava, turns out Rava again will hold like Beis Shammai. We learned in Maseches Baba Basra in a Mishnah that talks about Hashilech as B'nai Yitzchak, and he's someone who sends his son to the storekeeper. And he gives him a certain coin, let's say $1, and he asks him to buy a half a liter of oil. And it's only worth 50 cents. So the chemvan, he gives him oil and he gives him change. Now he's a little kid. He breaks the jar of oil and he loses the change. Zog the Mishnah over there. Rabbanon say that the chemvan is chayiv, because he shouldn't have given it to a small child. And Rabbi Yehuda says he's potter because the father sent him or whatever. We really shouldn't get into this case because the bottom of the line is really what makes a difference. Rava explains over there that the reason, what really Rabbanan and Rabbi Yehuda are arguing about is if a shoyel shlemidas is a gazlan or is a shoyel. Now, if there's a machlekes between Rabbanan and Rabbi Yehuda, who do we paskin like? Like the majority, like Rabbanan, of course. Turns out that if Rava says that if Rabbanan hold Shoyel Shlemidas Gazlan Hava, that means Rava holds, according to the halacha, that the halacha is Shoyel Shlemidas Gazlan Hava. If you tell me that Rava holds Shoyel Shlemidas Gazlan Hu, back to our sugya, how could Rava hold like Beis Shammai? Rava holds Shoyel Shlemidas Gazlan Hu, that's what Beis Shammai holds. How could you say that? How could Rava hold like Beis Shammai? Okay, step number 9. Okay. Rava says, okay, you know what? I'm going to try a whole other method. I'll explain Beis Hillel according to the second way. Remember, there were two ways in the beginning, right? What B'shas Eitzah means. I'm going to explain it according to the second way, and I'll answer your whole question. And I'll answer it in a different way. Okay, so really, what does Beis Hillel hold? Beis Hillel holds Eitzah means Eitzah mi Beis Habalim. Taking it out of you need to pay the amount that was when he took it out of the owner's possessions. And what is the Mishnah really talking about? Mishnah is talking about when he was guarding, when the Pikadon was a sheep. He was guarding a sheep. And when it went down in value, it means that the shomer cut its wool. So now it's missing wool. And when it went up in value, that means it had babies. And now, everyone agrees that when it goes down in value, everyone agrees you pay the higher amount. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai hold that you pay the higher amount because they always hold that you pay the higher amount. Beis Hillel holds that you pay the higher amount because that's the time that you took it out of the owner's possession. When do they argue? Right, and now you don't have the problem of you don't have the problem of kol hagazlanim of paying the lower price. You don't even have that kasha at all. When do they argue? They argue the machlokes is when it goes up in value. When it goes up in value, Beis Shammai hold you pay the higher amount, since they always hold you pay the higher amount, and Beis Hillel holds you pay the lower amount. Why? Because that's when you took it out of the owner's possession. And really, what are they arguing about? They're arguing about, what's the reason of their argument? They're arguing about shevach gzeila. If someone stole something and now it profited, became more expensive. And what's their svara? Beis Shammai hold shevach gzeila, profit of what stole when you stole it, goes to the nigzol, goes to the person that you stole it from. Not the gazlan, the nigzol, the one who was stolen from. Shevach gzeila, the nigzol have. And therefore, when they're arguing again, by the babies, when it goes up in value. And therefore, Beis Shammai holds, you pay the higher price, meaning you give back the babies. And Beis Hillel holds, Shevach Gzeila, the Gazlan Hava. The Sheva, the profit of a Gzeila, goes to the person who stole it. He gives back exactly what he stole. Anything extra, he keeps. So therefore, he gives back the lower price. He gives back just the animal itself. He keeps the babies. He doesn't have to give back the babies. Doesn't have to pay for the babies. And they're really arguing, Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are arguing like a Braisa. They're arguing just like aligned with a Braisa. The Braisa says if someone steals a sheep, and now it either has wool to cut or has babies. So Rabbi Meir says Shevach Gzeila goes to the Nigzal, goes to the one who was stolen from. And Rabbi Yehuda says Shevach Gzeila the Gazlan. The profit goes to the Gazlan. So that's exactly, Beis Shammai holds like Rabbi Meir. Beis Hillel holds like Rabbi Yehuda. Beautiful. So really, they're really arguing when it goes up in value, right? Beis Shammai hold that you should pay the higher amount because you're supposed to give back profits. So the babies goes back to the owner. You pay the higher amount, meaning you give back everything, including the babies. And Beis Hillel holds you pay the lesser amount of when you took it from the owner's house. When you took it, it didn't have babies. Why? Because the profit that happens when you steal something, you get to keep. Geschmack. Now, another amazing taste, amazing feel, amazing reasoning, and deeper understanding of what's going on between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Why do they hold what they hold? And now the Gemara finishes off with a diuk. Step number 10, last step, we bring a diuk from the Mishnah to prove that we're arguing about Shevach Gzeila. How do I prove that? Because the Mishnah says that Beis Shammai holds Yilke b'chaser v'yeter. He should get punished when it goes down, when it becomes less, and when it becomes more. The Mishnah doesn't say he should get struck when it gets cheaper or more expensive. The Mishnah doesn't say that. The Mishnah doesn't say b'zoil v'yakar, cheaper and more expensive. The Mishnah says when it becomes more and it becomes less. That means that we're talking about an actual sheep, and the sheep either becomes actually more or it becomes actually less. And with that we remain with maskana that yes, we're taught this is what the machlekes of our Mishnah is. So geschmack. Let's learn that piece inside. Zag the Gemara. We're holding the second Elahada Amarava. Where is it? Elahad Amarava, right here. Okay. Elahad Amarava, the line starts Bershusa. Elahad Amar. So now you just told me that they're arguing about Shoel Shlemidas or not, and Beis Shammai holds Shoel Shlemidas is a Gazlan. Elahadam Rava. But this, the Rava said, Shoel Shlemidas, that a Shoel that borrows without knowledge of the owners, L'Rabbanon, according to the Rabbanon over there in Baba Basra. Gazlan Hava is a Gazlan. So now Rava comes out to hold that Shoel Shlemidas is a Gazlan. Lema, Rava, the Amar Beis Shammai. Should we say that Rava holds like Beis Shammai? How could that be? And for the Gemara, Ella, rather, Hacha, over here we're talking about B'shevach shel gzeila kamiflagi. They're arguing about the profit of when something was stolen. Beis Shammai Savri, Beis Shammai hold Shevach gzeila the nigzol hava. The profit of something that was stolen goes to the person who was stolen from, the nigzol. Beis Hillel Savri, and Beis Hillel hold Shevach gzeila the gazlan hava. The profit of what's stolen belongs to the person who stole, to the gazlan. And in the argument of those Tanoim, they're arguing about that machlokes Tanoim that we had in the Braisa. What was the machlokes Tanoim? The Tanya that we learned in the Braisa. One who steals a sheep, Gzoza if he sheared it, if he cut the wool, the Yolda, and if it gave birth, Mishalem Oisa, you need to pay it, the sheep, Vez Gizay and its wool shearings, Vez Volodei and its babies. Divri Rabbi Meir, these are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says, Gzeila, something that was stolen, something a theft, Chayzeres be'eineha, goes back the way how it is, in front of our eyes. You don't give back anything extra. And that's really what Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are really arguing about. Beis Shammai holds that the profit, meaning the extra babies, goes back to the owner. When it becomes more, the more goes back. And Beis Hillel holds when it becomes more, no, you give back what it was originally, without the babies. Zog the Gemara, Daikanami, I'll even prove to you, Daikanami, I could even make a diuk, I could even learn out from the Mishnah that that's really what we're talking about. The Katani, because it says in the Mishnah, Beis Shammai and Beis Shammai say, Yilka b'chayser of Yaser, he should get punished when it becomes more and when it becomes less. Beis Hillel say, Kishas Eitzah, he needs to pay like the time that he spent it. Rashi, so the real proof is from the words of Beis Shammai, not really from Beis Hillel. Rashi, Lema, should we say, Lema ke Beis Shammai, should we say that he holds like Beis Shammai Amara that he said it? Should we say that Rava holds Shoel Shlemidas Gazlan Hava like Beis Shammai? Ella, rather, Hocha b'shevach gzeila pligi. They're arguing about the profit when someone steals something and a profited. The high chaser v'yaser. And this that says in the high chaser v'yaser, the masnisin, and this going up in value, becoming more and becoming less of the Mishnah, lav b'yukra v'zula. It's not that it became more valuable, yukar, more valuable, v'zula, and cheaper. It's not that it went up and down in value. Ella, rather, b'mai de chasra, in what that it became less. The hainu, that means gizois, the wool shearings. Uv'mai shehoisira, and this that became more. Kegoin, for example, in this abra, etzloi, if it became pregnant by him, if it had a baby. The Beis Shammai Savri, the Beis Shammai hold, HaKoil Yeshalem, he should pay everything. Rabbi Meir of the Braisa, like Rabbi Meir of the Braisa. Beis Hillel Rabbi Yehuda, and Beis Hillel hold like Rabbi Yehuda. Kishas Eitzah mi Beis Habalim, that he pays like how much it was worth when he took it out from the owner's house. That means the original price without the babies. Daikanami, we could even make a diuk. What's the diuk? Exactly, because the Gemara is very unclear. The Gemara just brings the words of the Braisa, the words of the Mishnah. Doesn't say what's the diuk. Rashi explains. The begiza is the vlado is pligi. I can even make a diuk of the Mishnah that they're really arguing about what to do with wool shearings and babies. The katani, because it says in the Mishnah, loshen chaser v'yaser, a term of getting more and getting less. The loy katani, and it doesn't say loshen zoil v'yoker, a term of becoming cheaper or more expensive. And with that, we complete this Geshmaka, Sugya. And now we have one Amud left to the end of the parak, so we have Geshmak all around. We should be Zaycha to hear even more Geshmaka Torah from Mashiach Tzidkenu. Take it from Yad Mamash.